Welcome back to Wrestling with Horror. My name is Andrew Dreamer. This is the channel where we talk about professional wrestling, we talk about horror movies, and we look at all the ways that they intersect, connect, and everything in between. Now, today, what we're going to be doing is a ranking of some of the major slasher franchises in horror. Now, I've been wanting to do this for a little while, and somebody actually suggested this in one of the comments of my videos, so I appreciate that suggestion. Thank you so much. And my thoughts are, I'm going to kind of split this up into a few different videos. So this video is going to be the major slasher franchises, the most well-known ones, and then I'm going to do a video about some of the lesser-known ones, and then from there, I'm probably going to do a video combining the two and doing like a big ranking video. So that is my goal with this. So if one of your favorite franchises doesn't make it onto this list, odds are it's going to be on another list. So don't be too upset if I leave something off or if your favorite franchise isn't where you think it should be. These are all subjective opinions and we all have our own right to an opinion. I would just ask that you let me know down in the comments what you think and what your favorite franchises are. Give me your rankings. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out a whole bunch. And go ahead and hit that thumbs up button as well. So let's go ahead and get to the video. Now, for this video, I'm only going to include 6 horror franchises. There were a few other ones I could have thrown in there, but haven't really had the time to sit down and rewatch a lot of them, or I'm not as familiar with them, or I just haven't seen all the entries in them. And I didn't want to include that because I thought it would be disingenuous and not a true representation of the franchise as a whole. So I left some of them off. So I've got 6 franchises here, and we're just going to jump right into this. So starting us off at number 6 is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I want to preface all this by saying I enjoy all of these franchises. They all have some great movies. They all have some bad movies. But as a whole, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes in at the bottom of this list simply because the middle movies are just so forgettable and laughably bad that I can't bring myself to move it any higher on this list. The first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's wonderful. It is gritty. It is dark. It is gross. And the second one it's a completely different beast, but it's also one of my favorite horror sequels of all time, which is another video I did there. But once you get past that second one, you get a few really bad movies. Then you got the remake and the prequel to the remake, which are both pretty good. I enjoy them. The remake is one of the better remakes of horror history. And then beyond that, you got the Texas Chainsaw 3D, which is something that I enjoyed more than most people probably did, but I understand the flaws with it. I understand how horrendously bad it is, how ridiculous the whole premise even is, the plot holes in it. I get it. And then Leatherface was just, I don't know. I wanted more out of that. Plus the new requel that we got this past year. And it was okay. It wasn't great. So that is why this film comes in at number 6 for me. Number 5 is going to be Child's Play. Now, the entire Child's Play series is something I really enjoy as a whole. I enjoy the new Chucky TV series that we're getting. But I just don't have as fond memories of these films as some people do. I understand that there are people who hold Child's Play up on a pedestal. Well, I shouldn't say pedestal, but they hold it up as one of their favorite franchises, and I understand why. There's a lot of fun to be had with the character of Chucky and all of these other characters that we get to know throughout the series. But for me, I like the first one, and the second one has one of the best third acts in horror history, in my opinion. But beyond that, I don't know. There's just not much merit in it for me. I don't understand the purpose for having so many movies. Now, it did get better right at the end of the film franchise. Then the remake, I thought was actually a pretty decent remake, but I thought it was kind of disrespectful to Don Mancini and everything that he created. But that's why Child's Play comes in at number 5 for me. Okay, number 4. the Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, these next few is where we're going to kind of get into controversial, maybe. I think everybody probably has these at the top or near the top of their lists, but these are all kind of, I guess you could say, interchangeable. For me, they're not, but interchangeable to a lot of people because they're so popular. They're so well known. They've been around for so long at this point. But Nightmare on Elm Street comes in at number 4 for me because I love the character of Freddy Krueger. I love what he does. I love his brand of comedy and his one-liners, which they perfected in part 3, the Dream Warriors, in my opinion. That was the best combination of horror and comedy. Now, you got chapter 4 and part 5, and they just kind of went off the rails, went over the top. And it's really those movies, especially Freddy's Dead, which I think everybody can agree that we hate it. We hate it, we hate it, we hate it. We can agree that that's the worst in the franchise. But those mid to late movies in the franchise kind of bring it down a notch for me. Now, luckily, Wes Craven came back with New Nightmare and kind of righted the ship a little bit. Then, of course, you have the remake, which I prefer to not even talk about. I don't like it. It can kind of go put itself in the same category as Freddy's Dead for me. Don't ever want to see it again. Don't have any interest in seeing it again. I'll watch the original, and I'll watch Robert Englund. Thank you very much. Okay, number 3, the Friday the 13th series. I love the character of Jason Voorhees. I love everything that he's done, the way he's transformed throughout the series. The first Friday the 13th, I've said on this channel before that I don't think it's that great of a movie. I think the second one does everything that the first one tries to do, but a lot better. It's more fun. It's a better told story. The characters are better. It's just all around better. And then part 3, some people think it's forgettable. I think it's actually very enjoyable. I like the way Jason is portrayed in that movie. He gets his iconic hockey mask, obviously. And then you get to chapter 4, the final chapter. And I think that it's still my favorite version of the character. It's my favorite film in this series. I like everything that they do. I like the final girl in the movie. I like Corey Feldman's character in the movie. I like the other characters around them. And it's just, to me, it is what this series should have been. And it's the best possible version of what this series could have been, or was at the time. Beyond that, of course, you got The New Beginning, which you either love it or you hate it. I'm in the camp that doesn't really care for it. And then getting back to number 6, we have Jason Resurrected, and we get the zombie Jason. And that's where he starts having some more fun. I like that movie a lot. It's probably my second or third favorite in the series. And then you just got some weird choices after that, leading up to Freddy vs. Jason and the remake. And now we're getting a new Crystal Lake series on Peacock. So I have a lot of fun with all these movies. I can put any of them in, and I can watch them and enjoy them for the most part. But there's a few movies in there that just hold it back for me, that I don't really care for as much. I don't need to see Carrie versus Jason. Jason can take Manhattan. I don't want Jason to Manhattan. I'm done with it. Jason Goes to Hell, again, not really my favorite thing. Jason X I can have some fun with, but those few movies that I named are the reason why it is here on the list. Number 2 is going to be Scream. Now, I love every movie in this franchise. I go back and forth on what my ranking for this series is. Obviously, the original is going to be number 1 forever. Nothing's going to ever beat it. Well, I shouldn't say never, but never. Now, I like the second one a lot. The third one, I understand the hokiness, the goofiness, the over-the-top meta of it all. I get that the ridiculousness of the voice changer, and I get it all. But I have so much fun with Scream 3. And if that's the worst film in your franchise, then you're doing something right. On to number 1. Now, it should come as no surprise if you've watched my channel for any period of time, but number 1 for me is going to be Halloween. Now, I'm not saying that every movie in this film franchise is perfect or even really good, but this is the series that I've watched more than anything else in my entire life. I've seen every movie in this franchise more times than I can count, and it's just because I enjoy the character of Michael so much. The only things that I don't really like about the franchise are probably the Rob Zombie movies, and even those I can watch and get a little bit of enjoyment out, except for the second one. It can still screw off. I'm done with it. I don't want to see it ever again. But the original Halloween is the best slasher movie ever made, in my opinion. It is my favorite slasher movie ever made, and it is my favorite horror movie in general. And it's going to take something really special to knock it off that list there. But that's how strong feelings I have about it. I care about this film franchise. I care about the character of Michael Myers. I care about Laurie Strode, Dr. Loomis, all of these characters. I care about them. Honestly, I started watching these at a very young age, probably younger than I should have. But it's like I grew up and kind of just watched them as the years went on. And now that we've got this new trilogy, it gives me a feeling that I can't really describe. It makes me happy that I'm still continuing to see new Halloween movies being made. And I hope we continue to get more. I know a lot of people didn't like Halloween Ends, but I'm very hopeful that we're going to continue to get more. So, that was my ranking of the major slasher franchises. Like I said, I'm going to be doing more of these little ranking videos. I know this one wasn't super long. I'm still kind of battling a cold here. Thought I was over it. It's kind of coming back a little bit. So, I'm trying to get through it the best I can. But I'm going to be doing a few other videos, ranking some of the lesser known franchises or some of the more obscure ones that most people don't think about when they think about major franchises. And then I'll probably do a big video where I do a deep dive into them all. So that's my plan for the next few weeks. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and I will see you next time on Wrestling with Horror.